9-year-old Wolf Gupta learned computers to earn rupees 150 crore from Google Video, while other kids of his age were surfing YouTube videos. 12-year-old Wolf Gupta learned AI to get rupees 1.2 crore job from Google, while other kids his age didn't know what to do after school. 13-year-old Wolf Gupta learned AI to get a 20 crores job from Google, while other kids his age didn't know what to do after school. Hey, wait a minute. Who is this Wolf Gupta? What is his actual age? 9, 12 or 13? Let me ask you a better question. Who created Wolf Gupta? Hi guys, I'm Renjith and welcome to Showtime. While being on social media or when watching television, you might have seen ads related to coding for kids. There are so many platforms that offer coding classes for kids, starting from the age of 6 years. For example, Code Young, Code Monkey, Stay Curious, Code Wizards HQ, and so on. You want to see these platforms? Go ahead and search for them in Google. But even if you don't wish to see, you must have come across this ad. Ads on Whitehat Jr. Facebook, Instagram, or rather any online platform, you will see the ads of Whitehat Jr. popping up. Before exploring these, let me ask you. Ask your kids who are learning coding or who are certified as Whitehat Jr. certified programmer or game programmer or rather website developer, etc. what coding is. This would let you know whether your child understands what he or she is doing or just works based on rules, predetermined methods. Are we actually ignoring their ability to think creatively? Are you trying to push your child to compete with the world at the age of 6? I spoke with a person who is running a kindergarten just to know the experience, what the kids from 0 to 7 years of age love to do, or rather the way they try and explore the world. Let's listen to her words.
Hi, my name is Joanne Verghese. I'm the center head of Friends Play School and Kindergarten based in Trivandrum. We have 2 branches, one in Kavdiyar and one in Anera. We are a 35-year-old institution and our philosophy is learning through play. So I have children between the age of 0 to 7 years coming to the school, and I have seen that children of that age are very vibrant, okay? They are full of energy and mostly all of them learn through feeling, through experiencing, through touching. So actually at that age they require a lot of sensorial experiences, you know, by actually touching, feeling and doing things. That is how they learn things, okay. So actually speaking, during this COVID time, I think the biggest a lot of us are going through a lot of difficulties, but I feel these children are the ones who have really been robbed out of their learning experience because they have to sit in front of a screen and learn now mostly, where actually they should be touching, feeling and doing and learning things, and that is how all their faculties develop actually, and that is what I've experienced.
I hope you remember the intro that I gave on Wolf Gupta. The 3 ads on Wolf Gupta are of the online edutech company Whitehat Jr. It was launched in the United States, promising young kids to develop coding skills through coding lessons. But my question here is, do kids need to learn coding at this young age, spending hours in front of the computer? We all know that COVID pandemic has already forced the kids to be in front of the computer or mobile phones for a pretty long time. Okay, how many of you parents out there know what coding is, how it could be learned, and what it takes to become a game, app or website developer? Let me tell you what coding is in very simple words. Coding is the process of using a programming language. And why do we use language? To communicate. So through the programming language, we get a computer to behave how you want it to. Do you think that your kids actually develop skills to use a programming language to communicate with a machine? And do you really believe that your kids would become young entrepreneurs in the field of coding and be hired by Google or such big shots with crores of remuneration? Well, that's what edutech companies like Whitehat Jr. propagates. If so, what is the point in spending 5 years to become a computer engineer, spending hours getting trained in computer languages? By the way, the kid, Wolf Gupta, whom the Whitehat Jr. advertised, was not a real person, but in fact, an imaginary character. Wolf Gupta had different ages in different ads. Is this an acceptable gimmick? To tell a lie in advertisements is quite common these days. But when it comes to products for kids, it is quite not acceptable. Many parents, I repeat, many parents did fall for this Wolf Gupta ad. Even one of my own colleagues, his son, who was 13 years old, joined the coding sessions of Whitehat Jr. He even got certified as a game developer. But both he and his parents felt to have developed no coding skills at all. They even notified about this to them, but still they keep calling, stating that his skills are high, join for the next course too, and so on. By the way, in 2020, Whitehat Jr. was bought by Byju's, the biggest edutech company in the world. And do you know for how much? For $300 million. I suppose Byju's never wished to have competitors in their field. They keep engulfing the global markets. But let's hear from Joan on how kids are being brought to the platform of coding.
For example, when we teach children about the 5 senses, sense organs and what are our 5 senses, we have activities in which they are actually using those 5 senses. Okay, so wherein we will bring, for example, if it's taste, so we'll bring different food materials which have different tastes like sweet, sour, salt and spicy. We blindfold them and we make them taste it, and then we ask them, and then we ask them to differentiate. Same way when it comes to seeing, so we again shut their eyes, we make them feel with their hands, so they kind of learn to feel things with their hands and kind of relate to, okay, this is this, I can feel it with my hand also and understand even if I can't see. So, and hearing, we make them listen to different sounds, and then we ask them to identify like which animal sound is it or which vehicle sound it is, or that way. So these are the kind of things that's called like sensorial learning and learning through doing, and for them it might be just a game, but they're actually learning so much by experiencing it. So this is what children are robbed of in a virtual environment or when they're looking at a screen.
All these fake ads and promises create something called FOMO in parents. Have you heard of what FOMO is? F-O-M-O. FOMO means fear of missing out. Watching these ads creates a FOMO in parents, thinking that their child would fall behind while other kids are learning coding and becoming experts at such a young age and earning in crores. Thus, they push children to a learner of coding even if the child is interested in learning to play a guitar or a dancer. Who is responsible for this? The parents? Edutech companies like Byju's or Whitehat Jr.? I would say that even our government would be responsible for this. The new educational policy has included coding in the curriculum starting from the 6th standard. Maybe that's what forces the parents to make the children learn these from the age of 6, thinking that would help their children while they reach class 6. We all have to think about it, because all these do affect the mental and physical growth of our coming generation.
Some parents that I know, they told me about enrolling their kids into these coding classes at like very young age, like 6 and 7 years old. So in most cases, it was the parents' interest to get the child exposed to that world of coding, and the child did not want to do it. So initially, the parents had a lot of hope that okay, the child is going to learn and become an expert and all that. but eventually they realize that it is a complete waste of money and time because the children are not interested. And they also saw that often the method of teaching was also didn't make any sense because children were just asked to follow step by step things without even really understanding why they are doing what they are doing. So then they ended up discontinuing it. So this is what happens when children are made to do things like this is that it is killing their innate creativity. So children should, you know, at this young age, if they are encouraged to think very originally. Actually, children already think out of the box. It is when they come into a very traditional system of learning is when that out of the box thinking is killed. So we should actually encourage children at this age not to get into coding classes and classes where they are made to think in a certain way. They should be able to think and innovate, and you know, their own creativity should come out. And for that, actually there are so many things you can do at this age. That would be like maybe getting them to spend time in nature. Taking them, I know with COVID we do have restrictions, but if you have a relative's house maybe with a courtyard, just encouraging them to go into the garden and pick up, give them like a checklist of things that they need to find, like a scavenger hunt, maybe a twig, a stone, a green leaf, a yellow leaf. Get them to do that. Get them to dig the mud and find earthworms from it if they can. Then art, craft, all these things are things that can be done at home. And actually 5 and 6 years is a very good age to introduce child into a sport. Okay, I know with COVID there are a lot of limitations to that, but if you can do it in the place you are, that's the best thing, because a certain discipline comes into them, and also being in a social environment, they know how to behave in a team. And even if you can't send them to a sport, there are so many drills and fun things that you can do at home, which makes the children become more active, and in turn actually helps their mental development in a big way. So this would be the ideal thing to do for children in this young age group than enrolling them into online classes apart from their school learning.
What is better for our child? Is it to let them explore life skills or push them to develop career skills? If it's logical thinking that you wish your child to develop, then why not let them explore these through natural environments? Though the COVID times are causing restrictions, try to make such environments at home. If you think they can communicate and learn with machines, why not with living beings? Think about it.
Being a parent of a 5.5-year-old boy and also having the experience of working with children between the age of 0 to 7 years, my message to parents would be that let your child decide what they want to do, especially when it comes to interests. You know, let them explore, let them guide you as to what they want to do. And as far as possible, you know, try and limit their screen time, you know, because I know there are a lot of working parents who sometimes have no other choice. But as far as possible, try and get them engaged in hands-on activities rather than making them sit in front of a screen. So this would be my suggestion.
Everything has turned to business. Literally everything. Even the video that you are watching now is a business. Yes, I do admit it. Showtime is a business. But I love what I'm doing. I always did. In Showtime, we always try to share those fields which need more attention, but often subtly discussed. Companies like Byju's have proved that education is one of the biggest businesses in existence. I have nothing against these companies. Just keep in mind that you companies are training kids at the very age they develop themselves. I repeat, you're not making machines there. You're not making business enterprises, but you are making human minds to be the way you want it to be. I love the words of Palki Sharma, which is what led me to share this beautiful view with you. And let me quote her. This is to all the edutech companies out there. Children are not startups, and parents are not angel investors. This is Renjith signing off from Showtime.